Hey, this is Brandon Cannady, aka CubeSolveHero, and thank you for listening to episode 82.
Hi, this is Daniel Goodman.
Dylan Wang from JPerm.
Ian Scheffler.
Shivam Bansal from India.
This is Alex from Z3Cubing.
What's up, guys? This is Jaden McNeil from Australia, and you're listening to the Corner Cutter Podcast.
That's right. Welcome to the Corner Cutter Podcast. Podcasting since 2014 and cubing since 2015. I'm your host, Josh. And this is the most consistent speed cubing podcast dedicated to entertain and educate you with in-depth conversations with cubers from all across the sport. My website is thecornercutterpodcast.com, and if you have any feedback, you can email in. My email address is josh@thecornercutterpodcast.com. And I'm back after a month-long off from podcasting. I'm bringing to you another episode, coming to you with episode 82. Today's guest is Brandon Cannady, who is known on YouTube as CubeSolveHero. On this episode, we discuss why he enjoys doing YouTube so much. He gives some really good tips on how to create some good content and his number one tip for making better videos. And then also, along with a bunch of other stuff, we discuss how he got sponsored. So let's jump right into today's discussion. Hey, Brandon, thanks for joining me today on the Corner Cutter Podcast.
Hey, Nate, thanks for having me. Sorry if my voice sounds a bit scratchy. Good old travel sickness.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Starting off with the first question, what's something interesting about yourself that most people wouldn't know?
Some things people don't know about me. I've been a musician for a long time. I love writing music as well as playing music. Guitar, piano. I've been playing a number of instruments from clarinet to trumpet. So it's just things like that I find that are my longest standing hobbies. It gives me a chance to kind of flex my creativity. I'm also massively ADHD, so I get very bored easily and very distracted. I also co-host a sports podcast for the Portland Trailblazers. I'm not going to do a lot of self-promotion because it's not the most family-friendly, but it's just another one of my main hobbies.
Okay, cool. That's definitely cool too that you're a fellow podcaster. I always like that.
Gotta love talking, right?
Yeah. But what's your favorite part about having a YouTube channel?
So for me, I love creating content. So, I mean, when it came down to music, it was a chance to kind of just flex that creativity. But music to me is just so personal. I'm not necessarily looking for input and looking for critiquing and looking to kind of expose myself in that way. But as far as video editing is concerned, it's something I've done for a long time. And so having a channel that can help me show off two of my hobbies at the same time, my editing skills as well as my cubing interests, it's just been a good thing for me as far as having an opportunity to just engage with two communities that I really enjoy.
Okay, yeah. For someone who hasn't checked out your channel yet, could you tell us what you make videos about and what you focus on?
Yeah, so if you're checking my channel out, you can pretty much ignore the first 60 videos. Those are the early, cringy, I'm not sure how to make good content with, cubing. So I made a lot of tutorials, which I'm not necessarily the proudest about. Some of them have been some of my higher watched videos, but from a lot of my newer stuff, like unboxings, reviews, comparisons, that's kind of my bread and butter. But I'm obviously getting more into different types of content like community cube, skits, and other kinds of just fun and interesting things that I find interesting. So, like I said, I get bored easily. So when I start getting bored, I find something else to do. So 215 videos later, I'm still doing it.
Nice. Wow. That's quite a few videos. When did you actually start the channel?
I think it was August 24th, 2017, so not quite 2 years old.
Okay. And what's the story behind your channel name, CubeSolveHero?
When I was making my channel, I was, I love music and I love different bands. And at the time I was listening to Foreigner, and I was more specifically Jukebox Hero. And for whatever, and just the name CubeSolveHero just stuck in my head. I was just thinking CubeSolveHero. And I was thinking about how I could make that into my intro without infringing on any copyright issues. And so, but from that point, the name stuck and just went with it.
Nice. And you mentioned you had a background in video. What did you do?
Yeah, so a long time ago, back when I was in the military, I was part of a church in South Dakota, and I did a lot of their camp videos, and that was just an interest of mine. So doing like church-related video stuff for them, and so I've always just been into creating stuff. And I think that was with Microsoft Movie Maker, so like really old school stuff. But that was just my intro into like filming pieces, putting together videos, and telling kind of a basic story. And so after a while, I obviously got older, got married, moved back to Oregon, and had family. Interests got put on hold. And that's just the joys of being an adult. Sometimes you have to sacrifice things that you're interested in to obviously do other things like raise a family. But got to a point where family was doing really good. Things were feeling pretty good. Had a lot more time and got a chance to just remind myself, what I enjoyed doing for a long time. So, yeah. So just kind of fell back into it. And it was a very, remember the first few videos, just sitting there, my wife and I'm like, oh, I got 10 views. Can you believe this? Like just getting excited about like my week stats and seeing that I've got like 10 people have enjoyed my content to some degree, or at least clicked on it.
Yep. What has your most popular video been?
I think the most popular video is for sure the GAN X versus GTS 3M comparison video. A lot of my comparisons do fairly well, which I just need to make more of them. Because it's just one of those things that it just, for me, I try to make them interesting, and which is why it takes so much time to edit. But I think it's been up for about 7 months, and I believe it's at like 208,000 views and growing. So it's not amazing view count, but most of my videos just have consistent views. I don't find that I have like one video with 6 million views on it, and then everything else has 10,000 views. So it's a lot of things. Just kind of, I get consistent views across most of my videos.
Yeah, that's definitely good. That means you have a loyal following.
It's been nice to see. I mean, I'm glad that I don't just have that one anchor video that just hinges my channel. So yeah, it's good to have fans that, like my content. When there's a suggested video up next, I see good click through. So obviously people want to see more of what I make, which is nice. And said it's good to just support the community with fun and cool content. And yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Is your opinion of the GAN X and GTS 3M the same?
So when I travel with both my GTS 3M and my GAN X because I love them both. And it's extremely hard, and it's hard to stay unbiased, but my opinion is definitely lean more toward they're both my main. But if I'm going to a competition like tomorrow, like I'm 100% going with my GTS 3M. But my GAN is my backup. If anything goes wrong with it, I will feel very confident in my GAN X.
Okay.
But that's been a very unpopular assessment because, of course, the GAN X has to be amazing because it's the GAN X.
Yeah, I know. What's your opinion of how cubes are being priced over the it's really been the past year.
Yeah,
How the flagship cubes are $40-$50 and good budget cubes are now $10-$15.
Yeah, I love it, honestly. Like I don't think so. I have another kind of bias. Obviously, I'm sponsored, and that takes a lot of pressure off me as a cube enthusiast. But as far as like me buying cubes, I bought cubes for a very long time, and I also have a great job and income. So for me, spending $50 on a cube that I know that I'll really enjoy doesn't make me feel upset in my stomach. Like I don't find it hard to make that purchase.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, do I think that they're worth it? And I think that a cube is ultimately worth what you're willing to pay for it. And I think that there is value in the technology. I mean, I personally love the options of being able to change out my magnets and my springs, and the more convenient that process is, I feel is the better. And I like where things are going. But at the same time, you'll never see me dog a budget cube like that Maylong video that I put up there. It's like, what, $4? And I magnetized it. And I would argue to say it's definitely made-worthy. So I think that additionally, the quality of budget cubes are also improving a lot. So it's hard to say there's too many bad cubes out there, because I feel like the market's done a good job of, hey, this is just stuff that no one wants. Like nobody wants a Yushin Fire. Nobody wants, I'm sure you can find them, but there are just cubes for the same price as other cubes that you can just get much better cubes for. Yushin Little Magic, MF3RS2, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What is your favorite video to create?
Honestly, to date, my favorite videos I've made are those 10 things you didn't know about somebody videos.
Mm-hmm.
I've had mixed reviews from people in the community, and they're like, oh, like I've actually had more thumbs down on those videos. Like I usually average about 95% like to dislike ratio.
Mm-hmm.
And on those videos, I'm seeing about 90% like to dislike ratio, and which is still, in my opinion, an A average. But people are kind of taking the videos a little too seriously. Like I'm going too far with these questions, or my tangents are just so crazy. It's so, this isn't real. But what people don't know is that I reach out, like when I did work with JPerm and SpeedCube Review, like I reached out to them both individually, and I was like, hey, this is my idea, this is what I want to do, and are you interested? And asked them 10 questions. They gave me their answers, and I just went ahead and had fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
But those are my chances to really flex like the creative side of me, to take 10 random facts and kind of make a 4-minute video kind of linking all those facts together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. I've noticed on your channel the different variety of videos is very fun, and you come up with some really good ideas.
And it's just trying to figure out what's working and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
So,
could you tell us about your community setup videos?
Like the community cube?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the concept between that was really about finding a creative way to just engage my audience into something fun. So kind of going back, like for me, I love doing giveaways, and I love giving back to the community. That's just, I feel like the Mr. Beast of cubing, because I love doing giveaways and making them bigger, and I like giving kids random cubes when I travel, and when I do vlogs, I usually give somebody something, and so on and so forth. And Community Cube was just a chance. The first video did really well. I probably had 1,300 comments in the first, I think, 3 days. And just the idea of, let me know what cube you would want, what magnets, what lube, so on and so forth. And then I'll pick the most popular combinations out of all the suggestions. And then I'll buy all the stuff. And then I'll do a setup video, and then I'll pick a random winner and just send it to you. So kind of, you all help me make this, and someone's going to get this. And so it's just a chance for everyone in the community to kind of come together, agree on what they think would be like the best mix of output for a cube. And it gives me a chance to make some cool content, practice my setup skills, and just bless someone with something cool that they wouldn't normally get.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting.
And fun thing to say, so for anybody listening that is wanting to know why Community Cube 2 has not been done yet, it's because I'm doing an event with Speedcube Shop, and I'm actually going to do a video about me actually picking out all the stuff at Speedcube Shop, like off the racks, and then do a setup video with their setup team and make that video there. And so it'll be more of like a kind of a tour / Community Cube / they're going to help set it up / it'll be a lot bigger of an opportunity than to just me have it sent to me. And then that way I can send it straight from there.
That's cool. Could you tell us, or are you able to tell us more about the event you're doing?
Yeah, so the event is August 8th. It'll be at their new location. And yeah, it's Bakersfield, California. So anybody in that area is more than welcome to come. I'll be doing a video. J Perm is also going to be there, and he'll be doing a video as well. And Cubing Encoded. So all three of us are going to be there for kind of a Q&A and a chance to kind of meet and greet and take pictures. And it wouldn't be a CubeSolveHero vlog if I wasn't giving away cubes. So I'll be doing my own just personal random giveaways and games. And yeah, I think it's going to be just a fun event, fun opportunity just to see Speedcube Shop and get a chance to just put out content from their location. Because I know that there isn't a lot out there showing that. And I've been chatting with Cameron Brown quite a bit. And yeah, we've been kind of collaborating on the idea of doing this, and just glad to see it happening. So,
yeah, it does sound like a really fun event. Too bad I'm just about as far as you can be in the United States, away from that, up in Maine. So,
oh geez.
So maybe sometime I can get out there.
Well, obviously no pressure.
One of your most recent videos is your Volk 5M unboxing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool that finally we've got another flagship 5x5 out. How long the Wushwang 5x5 has been out for? 3 or 4? Has it been 3 years? It's been about at least 2 to 3 years it's been out, and that's been the main flagship 5x5. Could you share your thoughts about that compared to the Volk 5M?
I probably haven't picked that up for a while, but I mean, like, I'm currently working on a 5x5 comparison video between I believe it's pronounced the Auschwang GTS 5, the Yush Little Magic, and the Volk 5. Because I feel like those are kind of, in my opinion, the three. I feel like they're all main worthy, especially nowadays market. It's just stuff that people. And the one thing that I wanted to compare them on, like a reason why I picked all three of those cubes in particular, is because of the price. You have a huge spectrum, and I want to show that you can have a main for anywhere between $16 and $50. But I'd be lying if I didn't say the Volk 5 wasn't my main. I mean, this cube is a fantastic cube, and I spent the whole flight solving this along with my GAN 460 and my GT. I mean, I like to do time trials, so it's fun being on a plane and people watching me bust out 237 and just time it. They're like, "Are you kidding me? You're going to solve these things?" But I mean, the Volk 5 is just it's just a good example of just paying attention to what the market needs. And I mean, the fact that the cube is just so fast, it's so light. I feel like the magnets are proportional, and the corner cutting podcast, the corner cutting is just out of this world. So, I mean, you have such a great cube, and in my opinion, I mean, to me, it's worth every penny of it. So it sits there on its podium. I have like a whole like rack of podiumed mains that I have in my huge wall of cubes, and it sits there at top. So,
yeah. Could you tell us a little bit behind the scenes of how you set up and host your giveaways? Because you've done quite a few of them recently.
Yep. So I have an account through Gleam.io. You know, I pay for it because I want to give a chance to capture a lot of the analytics behind it and kind of see where traffic's going. So for me, it's worth having the non-free version, but not everyone's in the same boat. And I figure if I'm going to pay for it, I might as well use it. So I use it to, again, host my giveaways, and it's just a good chance. I used to do it early on when my channel was really small. I specifically use giveaways as a way to grow my channel, which after the fact, I learned over time that to me, it's just kind of poor marketing. I didn't really care about the interaction I was getting, because sure, I was getting the views up. You know, I would require my viewers to subscribe and watch a video and then come back each day to watch another video. And I found that I was forcing people to watch content they didn't necessarily care to watch. So the main shift for that was just make it all about people. So the giveaways are just a thank you for supporting me. The main stipulation is that you just follow me on you subscribe to my channel. And from that point, I just don't put any pressure on it. So I don't care if you watch a single video of mine. Obviously I want to see you subscribe, because I'd be dumb not to do that. But after every giveaway, you always see people fall off, and it is what it is. People will subscribe just for the giveaway and jump off as soon as they didn't win. But it's over time, you just kind of get over that.
Yeah. And
that's where it comes like that's where being more creative with it goes, because everyone could do a giveaway. It's easy to post a video, post the winner, and then everyone's like, oh, dang, I didn't win. But that's where like doing things like Community Cube is also kind of fun. And then sometimes I'll slip random giveaways in on Instagram, or I have a Discord channel, and they'll do things. I haven't done anything there yet, but I will be. But it's just giving cubes away is just something that doesn't really cost me a lot. And I would rather take the money that I make on YouTube and just see people in the community just enjoy like that. The enthusiasm someone gets for getting like a cool $30 or $40 cube is worth way more to me than if my video gets 10 or 20,000 views. Like I could just really care less. Like I love that I'm getting the views, but I'm not doing YouTube to be a YouTube star. Like this is just all secondary. Like I care infinitely more about people.
Over the past year or even 6 to 8 months, your channel has increased exponentially in growth. Could you chart your growth over time? Like, just so you can give an idea of how you've grown recently?
I mean, I actually like telling the story from the beginning. So,
sure.
So the one thing people always seem to ask me is like, oh, how did you grow so fast? Or, oh, you deserve more subs or whatever. And I like to remind people that when my channel hit 1 year, I was maybe at 700 subscribers, and I'd already put out just about 130 pieces of content. By the time I hit my 100th video, I was sitting at about 240-ish subs. So the grind is there. Like when you're making content just to have an opportunity to be creative and just do something you love doing, like you just don't care about about the count. Like subscribers, it's great to have. It's how your channel grows. But if your focus is just driving traffic to a video, getting views, and having them click your sub, like, hey, I'll sub back, and if you sub, and it just doesn't really appeal to me. Like I sub to channels that I really like watching. But as far as people subscribing to my channel, Like, I'd rather have you because you just love my content and not because I'm a channel with a lot of subscribers. So the true test of a channel is going from 0 to, really that first 100, because you're really gaining the trust from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
between my first year and now, like you were saying, the last probably 8-9 months, I think I've gone from between 700 and 800 subscribers to almost 13,000. And like my analytics go in seasons. Like right now, I would argue to say this is kind of a down season, where I'm probably seeing, probably 20 to 25 subscribers a day. But there were seasons where I would have 50, 60 a day or more. And it's nice to watch that happen, but just understanding the cycle of YouTube, and they're just to expect, not all of us can be like JPerm and just have this incredible growth. It's like just sustaining forever, at this point. And, but for just the average channel, like, your content, this will be cool, this won't be cool. And if you're just focusing on making the content that you want to watch, you'll find that you'll attract the kind of people that, will enjoy the content you make. So,
yeah, it was just amazing seeing you did the 3,000 subscriber giveaway, and then it was like a week later, 4,000,
yeah,
5,000.
And I had to actually, I used to do giveaways every 1,000. Yeah, I had to just stop at one point because there's just no way that I could feasibly keep up with that rate. Because my going from 12,000 to 13,000, I'm still in the midst of that. But that's probably been a long time. I feel like I've been sitting around the 12,000 mark for like a month now. It's probably been less, but I could very well go from 13,000 to 15,000 in a month. And if I'm giving cubes away, just managing those giveaways and keeping track of, hey, congratulations on the 14K winner. By the way, the 15K winner is going to be announced next week. So I've just decided that I'll do giveaways every 5 to 10,000 giveaway, views. Yep. And those are specifically just the thank you so much for subscribing giveaways. It doesn't change the giveaways that I do randomly.
In your growth, have you noticed like one thing that has really helped you grow besides creating content that you enjoy?
Yeah, the one thing that I preached, and so I know that, so Brody the Cuber and I did a collaboration a while back, and he was talking to me about his channel and growth and just suggestions on how to, because he noticed my growth at the time. And even though he had a bigger channel, I was able to give him some insights that he's been able to apply. And the big thing is just analytics. Don't be afraid to look at your YouTube analytics. Click-through rates, when do you see people dropping on and off? What's your retention? But I'd say like the big tips are just stay consistent. The worst thing you could do on YouTube is make like 5 videos and then stop for a month and then make 5 videos. YouTube rewards consistency in their suggested feeds. If they know they're suggesting relevant content to their users, like that's when your channel is going to grow. Like your channel will not grow if you're just making videos, not tagging them and not putting in a description. If you're just putting in random content, you might get clicks with a thumbnail from people that you know. But for the most part, the only way to really grow big is to really ride that suggested video train. I'd say also, just like I've been kind of emphasizing this whole time, just don't worry about your sub count. But like the last thing you should worry about is subs. Because I would rather have 100 subs and 100,000 views a month versus 100,000 subs and 10,000 views a month. So having the subs just doesn't really matter in the end. Obviously, it's good to see, and it makes your channel look a little bit more relevant. But if your focus is just the subscriber count, you're focusing on the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then just make videos you'd want to watch. So if you're passionate about it, if you're making videos that you're excited about, that when you hit release, regardless if you get 1 view or 100,000 views, like if you are personally excited about the content, like that'll reflect in the video, and people want to watch people that actually care. Like I love scrolling through. I watch tons of cubing content just to see what's out there. And there's tons of videos out there that you can just tell they're making videos because they want to be on YouTube and they want to make money on it eventually at some point. And nothing wrong with that, but you're going to find your most success when you're doing it from a point of passion versus a point of like obligation.
What's one tip you could give somebody that's thinking about starting a channel or really looking to improve their own? Like something really specific.
I would say probably the biggest tip is thumbnails. So people discount that by either not putting a thumbnail up or putting up something really poor quality. Like really understand the dimensions of your thumbnail. Like there are definitely cool editors. I use one called Over, Over. I think it's free, or it might cost a little bit of money. Maybe it was like $5. And I create all my thumbnails through it. And just the more appealing those thumbnails look, like the more likely you are to get a click. I mean, if you have a video with a decent title, but your thumbnail is just terrible, you might not get that click just because people are visual. They want to see that clean look. And at around my 100th video, when I decided to really take my channel and grow it, I redid every single thumbnail. So all those videos I said don't watch, I went through and individually recreated custom thumbnails for every single one of them because the thumbnails were just so poor quality. And I spent just hours, pulling out the cubes, taking pictures of them, making better thumbnails, making them look consistent. And I scroll through and I'm really proud of all the thumbnails I have. Granted, people click on them, they're like, oh, this is bait and switch, because there's no way that was a setup you had. You have everything on a white table, and I filmed on my brown chair.
Uh-huh.
Like, what people don't know is when I first started, the first probably almost, I would argue to say the first almost 100 videos, maybe it's like closer to 80, were filmed with my iPhone 7. It was filmed on my brown chair as my background. I had a desk lamp that I had lighting the cube, and I had a small little tiny tripod that I duct tape a selfie stick to. and that was it. And I talked behind the camera. You could barely hear me. And I used iMovie, and it was very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, I still use an iPhone 7. I still use the same tripod, only I have an actual mount now. And I use iMovie. But the difference is that I've become an absolute wizard with iMovie, that you'll never be able to tell that it's an iMovie edited movie.
Nice. Uh-huh. Yeah.
So practice makes perfect.
Mm-hmm. So that means you don't need this expensive camera, expensive setup, expensive software to make cubing videos.
Nope. Not even close. And every single video I make, not even just all the skits I make. I mean, I make those with my iPhone. Like, you can do whatever you want with your phone. And it always makes you crack up whenever I see people post pictures of their setups or their cameras. They have like really nice cameras. I'm not going to dog you for that. Like, if you have wealthy parents, or if you're yourself are wealthy, or you have access to equipment like that, go ahead and use it. But what I really wanted to do is like prove to people that you don't have to have world-class equipment to make world-class content. And I always said to myself, if I can make my content look amazing with just the basic stuff that anyone can have access to, I just imagine what I could do with really expensive stuff. So I mean, eventually I'll get better equipment, and I think you're going to ask me a question about that later. But there's plans I have for future stuff. So.
Yeah. What are your future goals for CubeSolveHero, and can you give us any hints on future videos or plans or things you have planned for the channel?
Yeah, so obviously future goals are to continue making content. Obviously, like that, my channel is a channel. I'll still be doing unboxings and comparisons. So people who have reached out to me and are like, "Where are your why aren't you putting up unboxings and comparisons and whatnot?" And my answer to them is they're still coming. It's just a matter of I get bored easily. So when I get bored, I lack creativity. And when I lack creativity, I have to stretch myself to make something new. So with that said, I obviously have more collaborative things coming, obviously with other YouTubers, more vlogging, more traveling too, like doing the SCS thing. I'm not doing nationals, but I'm for sure going to be doing a lot of major events next year. Upcoming videos I have a Flagship 5x5 comparison coming out. I have a really exciting video. Something that I was inspired recently by Leo, I think it's Borromeo, and he posted something on YouTube or on Instagram about a cuber in the Philippines. I believe his name was Ario Speedcuber. I really hope it's Ario Speedcuber because that's just awesome. But he has a disability that doesn't give him a chance. Basically, he can't move his fingers, and he's got a lot of physical restrictions. And yet he still cubes. And he's got a small channel and kind of a small Instagram, and he posted it, and I got a chance to like it and follow him and share. And I reached out to him and said I want to make a video about you. So I've been working on kind of a cool, little thing called Cubers That Inspire You, and he'll be the first one that I'll show off. And I have something special planned in that video based off something that I asked him. So I'm not going to spoil it, but it's pretty cool, and it's something that falls in line with things that I'm passionate about. So it's just giving me a chance to kind of put him up my platform and show people out there that they're like, essentially there are people out there that struggle way more than you ever will and have less resources than you'll ever have to deal with. And yet they still choose to give you no excuses to follow their dreams or passions or whatever they have set their mind to. And if it inspires me, then, I want to give people a chance to be inspired as well. So that's things like that, just things that I, making different kinds of content that I personally get excited about. And yeah.
That's great. That's really cool that you are working on that.
One other thing I'm doing, I haven't had a chance to really do much with it. So it's kind of a non-issue, but, I'm starting a little merch line. I have links in my descriptions and whatnot, but it's just a chance to, I'd love to be able to go to events and people who are part of the CubeSolve community or whatever, that I could see that stuff at competitions. So that's more of just a chance to kind of expand the quote unquote brand, but I'm keeping the prices really low. So I'm not looking to really profit at all. It's just a matter of, I want to distribute the stuff, and like I do with my YouTube ad revenue, I usually put a lot of it back into my channel for either giveaways or whatnot. And then I'm also going to be doing a Patreon, which I was really resistant to, but then I realized that it's a chance to let the community kind of support me in whatever way they can. And I'll get a chance to do some cool things with the supporters. I have a lot of ideas for just really low tier stuff that I think will be really exciting. So it's, not that it's something I'm pushing or I'm really focusing on, but it's just something that's kind of coming out in the future. So
nice. Definitely exciting. Thanks for giving us some hints on that stuff.
Glad I can give you a little peek. I need to do a studio tour too, so that's I've been putting that off quite a bit just because of my personal work travel. But
for sure. What's some of your favorite feedback that you get, either in comments or emails or maybe replies on your Instagram feed?
honestly, like, and despite what some people in the community have thought, I actually prefer the criticism because it's good to see what's not working. Like, obviously, the most instant point of critique is in the likes and comments, but most people aren't going to publicly put, "I hate your video." They'll most of the time message me and say, I didn't really enjoy this piece, and I appreciate that. It doesn't change the fact that I've made the content, but it gives me an idea of what is working and what's not working. Now, at the end of the day, like, my rule of thumb is simple. If it's a piece of content that isn't received well, like, I won't do it. Like, even though I enjoyed making my meme review video, it just felt so forced and it's just not natural. So I tried it, didn't really work out well. People liked it, but I didn't have fun making it. So therefore, I'm probably not going to make too many more meme review videos. But in regards to, like, the one I would say is the most controversial that I just did was that 1x1 world record video.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to tell you congratulations.
and when I was in DC this last trip, like, not this last one I just got back for yesterday, but the one I was in before that, like, on my way to the airport, I had this random idea. And I know that 1x1 videos have been overdone, but this one was, the idea and the concept was, I'm going to make a video, like, because everyone's hitting a world record nowadays. Everyone's doing it. Like, at Worlds or whatever, they're just, new world record. And I thought, how funny would it be to, like, make a WCA looking like thumbnail and kind of just joke about the idea that I had achieved the 1x1 world record. And the video was kind of put to a point where it was documentary style. So I was essentially, like, kind of showcasing my journey to, like, the 1x1 world record, and, like, and the tongue in cheek, hey, you could do it. If I could do it, you could do it. And the way that it was received is, and some people who messaged me admittedly said they didn't watch it. And I had people reach out to me and say that they unsubscribed from my channel because my content is becoming too forced and too not funny. And I was just so set back, and I'm like, man, I thought this was so funny. And so it's like, I must have just a really weird sense of humor. But end of the day, like, I think I was able to explain myself and the purpose of it. Like, it wasn't to create this hokey content that was, like, trying to be seriously like, hey, here's the new 1x1 tutorial. But it was really just more of a skit, documentary skit. So,
yeah, I really like how you set it up, documentary style. Can you tell us how you got sponsored by Speedcube Shop?
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. When I was starting out, at the beginning I would buy cubes from both the Cubicle and Speedcube Shop. And early on, I had reached out to the Cubicle first, like a long time ago, way before I had 500 subs. And I was talking to them about, hey, what are your ideas on my content? I feel like I'm getting pretty consistent views. And they reached out and was like, hey, you're doing good, but I mean, not sponsor worthy, but keep it up. And I was like, cool, no worries. And glad to get the feedback, and kept kind of trucking along, and buying cubes again from both Speedcube Shop and the Cubicle, which you see from a lot of my early unboxings. And I ultimately reached out to Speedcube Shop when I was actually asking for a sponsorship, because one, they're on the West Coast, so it's nice to have a shop that is close within proximity to me as far as shipping is concerned. And I also just really enjoy their customer service. That's the big piece, is that I place an order and I'm getting a shipping notification like the same day. Like, it's just night and day. So overall, like I wanted to align my brand with a company that I felt like I could support long term. And there were other shops that reached out to me that were small, kind of just small no name shops that, when I think I had about 500 subscribers, and I won't mention the shop, but they were like, hey, we would be interested in sponsoring you. And I just was like, honestly, my channel is just too small. Like I looked at a few of their other sponsored channels and they were small, and I just didn't want to align myself with a company that, one, like I didn't necessarily know or believe in yet, and two, well, if I didn't feel like I could support them in any way, because what's the point if I have 120 views on a video and like how valuable is that sponsorship if you're sending me a $50 cube and I'm getting you 200 views? So there is a sense of personal responsibility. And so when I reached out to SpeedCube Shop, they're like, the consensus was you have a really fast growing channel, which is great. You have great views. And they started me off with a partial. And about a week later, I remember Cameron reached out to me and said, you know what? We decided that we're just going to go ahead and make you a full sponsored channel. And just because he watched the growth from, like, I think that week, I grew 200 subs that week and my views shot up, and he was just really excited to see the growth. So even though I reached out to SpeedCube Shop, I know that Cameron's very proactive in the community and he does watch a lot of videos. So merely just putting out content and being different, so finding ways to separate yourself, apart from just the average thing, because people do ask me a lot, how do you get sponsored? And I just say, just find your own natural groove. Like, don't rush it, but find ways to make content that no one else is doing. And if they are, be better. So quality's good, finding kind of your own style, but don't be afraid to reach out. They have a link for a reason. Interested in sponsorship? Click the link, give them your channel, explain why you think you deserve it, and there you go.
Do you have any fun cubing stories, or even I would love to hear some non-cuber experiences you've had as well, like you mentioned on the plane earlier. What do you have there?
Well, obviously, like, as far as like positive cubing memories are concerned, like I love going to competitions. I haven't had a chance to go to a lot this summer just because of work. But whenever I go to competitions, I vlog, and I love doing games. Like every one of my comp vlogs, you'll see that I do some kind of like inter-comp game where I ask a question or do a challenge or whatever. And then I give away cubes and I give shout outs, and it's just like fun to do on those things. My most embarrassing cubing related story was it was a comp in Portland, Oregon. And off the top of my head, I honestly can't remember the name. I think it was Cubing for Causes. And I made it to the second round for some odd reason. And I had I think it was a 55-second solve, because it was my last solve of the day. I looked at this last layer case, PLL, and I just, for whatever reason, was just mixing it up. I don't even know what I did, but I had to continue to make the wrong mistake like 4 or 5 times. And I have it on video. I just got up, saw some kid in front of me. I gave him, I think, a Keelan V2 cube I had. And I just said, here you go. And got his reaction, just walked out. So I was not pleased. But as far as like just fun random things, like whenever I travel, I always bring cubes to give away. I just something I don't do for camera. I just do it because I love meeting kids. That's not creepy, but I when I'm on a plane, for instance, like families who have kids that are just bored, and all can be, and they're making noise. Oftentimes, I'll have like 2 or 3 cubes, which is why my cube collection seems to be growing at a slow pace. Mainly just because I take cubes from my collection and just
Oh.
hand them out.
Uh-huh.
So I often give kids, like, I'll usually bring 3 or 4 puzzles that are between $5 and $10. And if I meet a kid in a plane that is bored, I'll say, hey, play with this for a bit. And they'll watch me solve it and they'll play with it. And it's just kind of fun to watch them get excited about it. And even adults too. Like I was on a plane and the person next to me was watching me solve it. And they're like, could you teach me how to solve this? I'm really curious. And by the time we landed, because I was doing my own thing for a while, but I taught this person how to solve the first 2 layers, using the beginner method. But I said, I recommend watching these videos, and and here's a cube. I wish you good luck. And who knows if they'll ever solve it again. But they seem genuinely interested and genuinely happy to have a free cube. So those are, again, kind of fall in line with my overall just narrative of life. Like, I just treat people the way I want to be treated. And if I have the means to bless somebody, I'll do it. So.
Yeah, those are some fun stories. Have you found a good cube to give away? Or do you just give away your own cubes?
I just
all
give
the
away my
time?
own cube.
Okay.
Yeah, that's typically what I do. But I mean, what I'm going to be doing pretty soon is, so my wife is a school teacher. She's a middle school teacher, and she's got a lot of kids in her class last year, at least, that were getting into cubing. And so I gave them I just bought a bunch of Guanlongs, just to kind of have. But this time, I think this school year, I'm going to buy 30 or 40 Maylongs. 'Cause I think as far as just an unmagnetized basic cube goes, that's just a top-notch cube. So I'm going to be buying a bunch of those, and I'll probably set them up, maybe not with magnets, but just put a little lube in them, slow them down a bit, and those will be my new giveaways, just on the spot. Like, hey, go to a coffee shop, I see a kid, I saw a kid with a Pyraminx, just like, oh, cool cube, where'd you get that? He's like, oh, my mom got it for me. I'm like, well, hey, here's a 3x3. He's like, what? So just things like that. Just That's why I joke and say, I'm like, I feel like the Mr. Beast of cubes, because I'm always giving cubes away. But I'm not Mr. Beast because I don't film it. So I guess if there's no film, there's no proof it didn't happen, right?
Yeah, it's definitely fun to give away stuff, though.
Well, I mean, I don't need to have. I mean, I think I have 150 cubes, and I don't need 150 cubes. But I mean, I like the collection, but end of the day, you can't take your cubes with you. So
yeah,
what's the point?
Going way back to before you started your channel, how did you get into cubing?
Again, I'm older, so I'm 34, and I don't remember exactly when my friends and I got into it, but I want to say it was either late middle school or maybe just early high school. But I had a group of friends. We were all mathletes, and I actually graduated high school 2 years early, and that's a fun fact. But we used to memorize pi. That was a hobby of ours, and we would see who could memorize the most digits. And that same group of guys, we all picked up cubes and were like, let's figure this out. And so I've been a casual cuber for a long time, but whenever I tell people I've been cubing for a long time, they're like, what? Because I'm probably averaging about 25, 26 seconds to solve, which it's fast, but it's not like lightning fast. And, I use CFOP and I know my ALGs and whatnot, but I've really only been speed solving for maybe 2 years. When I started my channel, it was really about kind of holding myself accountable too, to just cubing. I wanted to get more into it. So I've been a casual cuber for a long time, but I've been a speed cuber for just between a year and a half to 2 years. So that's it's so I'm not just some old cuber that picked it up, a month ago. But at the same time, I can feel it when I solve too. I'm blown away when I see kids that can just solve a cube in 6-7 seconds. And I'm like, I just can't process it that fast. So my fingers don't move that fast. They're just so trained, so my finger tricks are like, it is what it is. And, I seem to default to like algorithms that I can execute quickly without interruption on a video, like my R perm and T perms. And that, maybe I should expand those a bit.
Yeah. And you actually know what's going on too and how to solve it. So it's cutting out 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, going from I remember the big jump for me was going from like 40 seconds to 30 seconds. I felt like I did one of those Brody sessions a while back, and I'm like, dude, there's just no way I'm going to be a sub 30 solver. And even though I'm doing a vlog called Sub 10, which is my journey to being sub 10, I feel like it's going to be a vlog I'll be doing for like 10 years. But I practice about an hour a day, sometimes more, just in and out of time when I have at work. I have a pretty flexible job when it comes to my ability to do things on my desk and just have some time to myself. And so I get a chance to have that daily practice. And really it came down to me as just practicing what I know I need to be practicing every single day over and over again. I watched the time just gradually chip itself down. So now I see a lot of 20-second solves, sub 20 solves, but I can't call myself sub 20 because I'm not consistently, but soon.
Okay. Brandon, what's something you've changed your mind about recently?
I would say I've been changing my mind about big cubes, like 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, 7x7. Like I mainly been focusing on speed cubing in the 3x3. And I don't know, I've wanted to kind of expand that because again, I get bored easily. Now I'm kind of getting to a point where, I feel like the difference between sub 30 and sub 20 is just practice. I could practice and I'll get there eventually. So now I'm finding more interest in 4x4 and 5x5. And those are my next two cubes I want to compete with. And, I think I've got my 4x4 down to about a minute and a half and just got to keep working on it. So those are I think the main cubing things that I've changed my mind about, because I've kind of been adverse to, even though I can solve any cube, like I can solve them just fine. But, dedicating, the time it took me to solve them, like a 5x5, I wasn't able to get it past 10 minutes. Now I'm able to solve it in I think under 4 minutes now. And it's just things like that. So, and I also, one thing people don't really know about my channel is that I actually almost quit about 3 or 4 months ago. I was getting really burnt out, with life and work. And, I said, we buy and rent houses. So, there's a lot of things I have, that are responsibilities of mine. And my wife just looked at me one day and was like, I had this office, the space in my house dedicated to it. And she's like, either you keep making videos or we turn this into something else. And just decided I'm going to do it. So there was a time in the recent history that I almost decided to quit YouTube completely.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad you're sticking around.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun.
So if people want to follow you and find all your stuff, where can they go?
Yeah, so go to YouTube. You just type in CubeSolveHero. On Instagram, kind of the same way. Got CubeSolveHero. And I'm also on Discord. So I have a server that's about 600 people strong. Couldn't tell you what the link is called. I know there's a link in my YouTube page description.
Mm-hmm. I'll also have a link in the show notes.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So the main medium is obviously YouTube, but I'm pretty approachable. So if you listen to this podcast and you go on Instagram and follow me, I respond to every single person who reaches out to me. So I don't believe in quote unquote elitism. Nothing bugs me more than when cubers or really just anybody who puts out content is just absolutely unapproachable. So, you can always expect that if you message me, it might not be the same day because I get a lot of people that reach out to me, but just know that I respond to 100% of my DMs. So,
wow, that's great to hear. I feel the same way. Brandon, thanks so much for joining me on this episode of the Corner Cutter Podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That was fun. It definitely felt good to get back on the microphone and start producing some more content. Got some more great interviews coming your way in the next couple of weeks. In one of the next episodes, I will be doing the Worlds and Nationals overview and review, as well as playing your answers to the June question of the month. I know that was a while ago, but a lot of you guys sent in your answers, so I definitely want to make sure to play those. And don't worry, this podcast isn't going away anytime soon. I've just been super busy in July, so the podcast kind of just sat on the back burner. But now it's August, and I'm jumping right back into producing more content for you. If you're interested in coming on the podcast for one of the upcoming Cubu Chats episodes, then you can go to thecornercutterpodcast.com/guest, fill out the form, and I will email you before we record another episode. So maybe you can join us then. Usually have people pick a few topics and then we discuss what we can for the episode and we have a good time. We just have to make sure you have good audio quality, and then there'll be no problem coming on the podcast. I want to thank CubeSolveHero again for coming on the podcast. And next time you watch one of his videos, I think it would be great if you would just comment and let him know that you heard him on the podcast. I'm sure he would love that. So that is it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for sticking around and your continued support of the Corner Cutter Podcast. I really appreciate it. Got some nice emails over the past month I'll be sharing in the upcoming episodes. The next non-interview episode, I should say, which will either be next week or the week after that. We'll have World wrap up and all that stuff. And now it's time to take episode 82 back to the scrambling table, and we'll talk to you again next week in episode 83 of the Corner Cutter Podcast. Two of the things that happened in July are, one, I turned 18, and two, I bought a car. I'll talk about both more in an upcoming episode, and I appreciate you sticking around and being a loyal listener. Talk to you next time.